Hey Fanatics. Again, another discussion about a film that had a lot of potential. So warning, there's going to be a lot of spoilers. Assassin's Creed is a beloved video game series that had the potential to be the perfect story to adapt for either film or TV. But what we got from this film was a nonsensical mockery of the video game counterpart. This film is an absolute train wreck from beginning to end. I mean, you have overly expository scenes, you got terrible cinematography, you've got suspect editing, crap score, and on top of it, you have characters that you don't really care about. And in Assassin's Creed games, the majority of the sequences that you play out are meant to be in the past. Yet the ratio in this movie is 65 to 75% of the movie is set in modern day, and the rest of it is just a couple of glimpses or game demos in the past. With a cast as good as this, I expected much more from this film, so here are a few rewrites I would have made. To start the film, get rid of the on-screen text. Show don't tell is one of the key rules of screenwriting, and it applies here. If you want to have this expository dialogue at the beginning, how about a narration over top of a black screen before you reveal where we are going? Also, don't tell us it's 1492. Tell us it's the 15th century. That gives you a little bit more wiggle room to work within that century, because I mean, knowing that it's in Spain and in 1492, you know Christopher Columbus is going to be involved in some way. But if you say the 15th century, it gives you some leeway, and people won't catch on as quickly. And on top of that, most of the Assassin's Creed games don't happen within a matter of months, but they happen within years. And so by doing that, you give yourself the chance to have Callum go back through these memories through multiple years until they finally find the Apple of Eden. And if you're gonna cut off Aguilar's finger in the first scene, at least make it pay off at some point in the film. You're basically doing it for fan service if you're not, because the casual audience member is not going to know every minute detail about Assassin's Creed, but you're throwing it in there for the people who are diehard fans of the series. And so if you're going to put it in there for, the box office, then you should at least have it pay off in some capacity. I could complain about every little piece of this film, so here's how I'd fix it. This film is set in two time periods, but the majority of the time is set in modern day, and I feel like that is part of the reason that this movie didn't work. So, from the beginning, keep everything from the introduction of the Brotherhood to Callum's backstory. However, as you're progressing through Callum's backstory, we don't get enough to invest in him. We know that his dad killed his mother and he was orphaned, and so he ran away. And then all of a sudden, we're 30 years later and it's lethal injection time. Well, we don't really have any reason to like him. So let's put maybe a teenage year in there. Maybe something that he did that started on his path to, bad choices. But it also gives us a reason to empathize with him. After he wakes at Abstergo, actually explain how he survived, and then slowly build up to going into the Animus. Now, I like the old school Animus from the actual game series, where they would lay down in beds similar to Avatar and The Matrix, because then that allows you to kind of immerse yourself in the other world. You could set it up as virtual reality and make it look like a video game, but they decided to do this VR effect in this movie and allow him to mimic it. And I feel like it worked in this film just because it allowed the characters around him to see what he was seeing rather than having to ask him all the time about what his memories told him. So let's keep it. But instead of cutting back and forth obsessively between the Animus and the past memories, do it a couple times at the beginning of the movie. Maybe do it for some unique jumps and other things throughout, but don't keep doing it during the action sequences because it just takes you out of the thrill of those scenes. Now, from the first point that he enters the Animus to the third act, I would change a lot about this film. First, I would definitely make a lot more of it based in the past, so he's doing more sequences leading up to the actual discovery of the Apple of Eden. This allows more character development for not only Aguilar and Maria in the past and their friendship, but also the bad guys, because we don't really have a strong antagonizing force in the past of this movie. So by doing that, it allows you to actually have a solid storyline there. Meanwhile, in the modern day, I think that he should not only develop a better relationship with Sophia, but also one with Musa, played by Michael K. Williams. I feel like his character was completely underused, and so what you could do is have these two characters interacting despite all the other assassins being skeptical of him being there, and it kind of helps him along the path. Also, I'd change the whole Project Animus deadline that the Order has set for Riken, because I believe that just rushes the movie, and I feel like giving him a month or two and then rushing it at the end allows him to get comfortable with the Animus, allows him to build a relationship with all the other characters and make us want to feel for him, but then the rushing causes the actual conflict. By the time we reach the third act, we would now have a ton of fleshed out characters that we can actually empathize and care for, and at the same time have an even split between the two storylines. When the third act begins, I would have Riken take Cal to see his father, just like in the movie. But what he doesn't know is that Musa has already informed Cal that his father is there, and so he goes as a ploy. And so he enters the Animus of free will to go and try and find the Apple of Eden, not to give the location to the Templars, but to give it to the Brotherhood so they can find it and hide it again. Then, for the most part, the film would end similarly to how it did, with both storylines ending in big climactic battles, and then Riken going and having his ceremony. There's only one minor variation that I would have to it. Riken's ceremony seems to happen a couple of days after they discover the Apple of Eden. So, during that time period, why not let Cal become part of the Brotherhood? And by doing so, what you can do is cut off his finger. And then when they go to assassinate Riken, you can have a very slowed down sequence in which he walks over to Riken and slowly lets the blade come out of the spot where his finger once was, and then take him out in front of everybody. I feel like that would allow for a big payoff of the original scene where you see Aguilar get his finger cut off, and it shows the significance of taking that finger off to the general audience. With these changes in this cast, I think that this movie could have been the first successful video game adaptation, but instead they squandered the story and just played off the fact that it's an established name to make money. So to summarize, add some intrigue by giving a century rather than an exact year, and show the exposition rather than tell. Don't cut back and forth during the action sequences. Make the ratio between the two storylines closer to 50-50, giving enough time to invest in characters from both storylines. Set up the friendships between Cal and Musa, as well as Cal and Maria, giving more depth. Make Cal decide to find the apple to help the Brotherhood instead of Abstergo. Lengthen the final scene with Riken's murder, showing Cal's transformation into an assassin, including the missing finger payoff. Well, that's my rant on the Assassin's Creed story, and what rewrites I think could have saved it. If you've seen Assassin's Creed, what did you think of the story? And if you could, how would you change it? What did you think of my thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for watching. If you liked this video and you want to see more, hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Check out our latest Film Fanatic review, where we discuss the film Assassin's Creed. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We post new videos every Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday. Until next time, Fanatics, keep it real.